You remember over the past number of months, I mean, almost a year, the outrage from the Bernie Sanders campaign against the DNC. Right. We don't have access to your emails. We don't have access to the infrastructure. Why are you favoring Hillary Clinton over me? Why can't we have access to the same
But a party can't favor one candidate in a primary, right?
Oh, no.
That's not allowed. And they claim they weren't, right? They're fair arbiters of this process. Is that true?
Well, this morning we have the proof according to some leaked emails reportedly coming from this one. DNC CFO Brad Marshall saying, does he believe in God? He had skated on saying he has Jewish heritage. I think I read he is an atheist. This could make several points difference with my peeps. My Southern Baptist peeps would draw a big difference between a Jew and an atheist. So basically attacking him on his religion, wondering if questioning whether he believes in God or not, and maybe that will alienate some of the Democrats.
Are you kidding? This is the lowest thing I've ever seen. By the way, these are from WikiLeaks. They're online. You should read them. They're amazing. We had called to ask the DNC spokesman for an interview over here, and the line was, what? No, we hate them. Anyway, but they're not allowed to hate one of their own candidates. That's the point. It was a rigged system. Bernie said it was rigged. Hillary people said, oh, it's rigged. You're a conspiracy nut. It was rigged.
And here's some more evidence. Here's another leaked email from the DNC press secretary, Mark Paustenbach, wondering if there's a good Bernie narrative for a story, which is that Bernie never had his act together, that his campaign was a mess. So if you were looking for a narrative to put together, just turn to the DNC. They've got it in the bag.
Well, it turns out even paranoids have enemies. Remember the Bernie people said, oh, Debbie Wasserman Schultz is totally in the bag for Hillary Clinton. She was handpicked to help Hillary get the nomination. And the other people said, that's just you're crazy.
Right.
And it turned out it was entirely true. I don't like leaked emails, but in this one case, God bless you, WikiLeaks, for proving what we suspected.
Well, and with the information coming out this morning and with the VP pick of Tim Kaine, what will happen with all of Bernie Sanders supporters? Are they going to potentially go to Donald Trump? He, of course, has been trying to court them, and also the blue-collar Democrats.
Yeah, and this is, of course, a flashback to what he thought would happen to these voters. Watch.
I have seen firsthand how the system is rigged against our citizens, just like it was rigged against Bernie Sanders. He never had a chance. Never had a chance.
Democrats say that never happened for Bernie Sanders. It was totally tilted in the opposite direction.
Well, the media wants to talk about the division in the Republican Party. Look at the Democratic Party right now.
This pick has many Bernie supporters this morning unimpressed. This coming as leaked DNC emails show a secret plan to take the Sanders campaign down. So has Hillary and the DNC alienated her base? Do the Democrats have a problem here? Here's a guy aligned with Wall Street. This was, of course, the theme, the narrative of the campaign, that Hillary is aligned with Wall Street, the big banks. And then, of course, Bernie Sanders supporters furious about their, coming together at the end. I mean, the Democrats have a big problem. Are those Bernie supporters who Donald Trump thinks are going to come his way, are they going to actually get up on Election Day, get out of bed, and come to the Hillary Clinton ticket?
Well, let's face it. Turnout is the big question. Will the Obama coalition turn out in strength for Hillary Clinton? She thinks she's won the election, and she wants to run out the clock with a safe pick. I mean, that's really where she is.
Authorities are, however, expecting lots and lots of protesters here. The most inspired among them may be those supporters of Bernie Sanders. And they may have found some new inspiration in the release just yesterday by WikiLeaks of almost 20,000 hacked Democratic National Committee emails. Those emails were lighting up Twitter last night, fueling skeptics' view that an organized effort in the DNC may have tried to deprive Sanders of the nomination. Sanders supporters have applied for and they have received permits for 9 rallies approved by the city of Philadelphia. 30,000 people are expected to attend the largest rally over the 5-day period. Sanders rallies account for 1/3 of the approved events in FDR Park, which is right across from the Wells Fargo Center where we're now standing. Despite the incendiary quality of some of those hacked DNC emails, the hard, cold fact for Bernie Sanders supporters is that the Hillary train has long ago left the station, and it is not coming back. Back to you in New York.
Just got off the phone with Hillary. I'm honored to be her running mate. Can't wait to hit the trail tomorrow in Miami. On Twitter, Donald Trump took this swipe. Is it the same Kaine that took hundreds of thousands of dollars in gifts while governor of Virginia and didn't get indicted while Bob McDonnell did? Then this morning, Trump tweeted, Tim Kaine is and always has been owned by the banks. Bernie supporters are outraged. Was their last choice. Bernie fought for nothing.
You remember last week on Meet the Press, Bernie Sanders warning, sort of like throwing it out there. He knew it was coming. He warned the Clinton campaign last week on Meet the Press. He said, look, do not pick someone that is cozy with Wall Street.
But then he said he didn't want to talk about Tim Kaine.
Bernie Sanders gets, 45% of the votes. He gets every single young person who's voting Democrat this year. And Hillary Clinton says, you know what, I've heard the message. I'm going to pick someone who represents his values. She pretends to vet Elizabeth Warren, but her Wall Street journalists say, no way, we won't accept that. Then she goes with Tim Kaine, a favorite of Wall Street.
You will always have a seat at the table when I am in the White House.
So remember, that was when Bernie Sanders endorsed Hillary Clinton. She was promising them a seat at the table. We're going to let you help plan out the platform here. Your revolution will not be dead.
Sure.
And then she picks somebody who ties herself to the establishment even more. And many are saying she's tone deaf because this is an anti-establishment year.
Exactly.
Take a look at what Michael Moore said on Twitter. He said, show me one voter gained by naming Tim Kaine. Attention Hillary campaign. It's not Trump who will beat you. It's the people who are going to stay home.
Stephanie Taylor released a statement. She's a co-founder of the Progressive Change Campaign Committee. Said, look, the mood of the country is a populist one. Unfortunately, since Tim Kaine voted to fast-track the Trans-Pacific Partnership, Republicans now have a new opening to attack Democrats on this economic populist issue.
Bernie supporters from the very beginning, and Bernie himself said this election is rigged. This primary process is rigged because the Democratic Party itself, run, of course, by Debbie Wasserman Schultz of Florida, is on the side of Hillary Clinton. And the Hillary people said, that's insane. You're a conspiracy nut.
Right, but now we have emails.
We have proof.
Because of WikiLeaks, they managed to break in. I wanted to say that these were leaked emails, but that sort of presupposes that someone from the DNC handed these emails over to WikiLeaks. No, WikiLeaks tends to break into servers and actually find this stuff, which they did here to show that this stuff was planned from the beginning. Here's Brad Marshall. Here's an email that he had written. Quote, does he believe in a God? Referring to Sanders, he had skated on saying he has a Jewish heritage. I think I read he's an atheist. This could make several points of difference with my peeps. My Southern Baptist peeps would draw a big difference between a Jew and an atheist.
Wow, trying to attack him on his religion.
Whoa, so he's not really Jewish? He's not an authentic Jew? Are they allowed to say this? That is awful that they would say something like that.
Here's another email that sort of creates a negative narrative. This one's from the DNC press secretary, Mark Pastenbach, wondering if there's a good Bernie narrative for a story, which is that never ever had his act together, that his campaign was a mess.
So we heard this over the past year from the Bernie campaign. We don't have access to the DNC's voter rolls. They're not giving us access to the same level of infrastructure that the Hillary Clinton campaign has access to in different states. And remember that there was a 2-day or 3-day period where they were frozen out of having access to anything?
Yeah, in that database. And also the debate calendar that was meant to kind of hide Hillary Clinton and coronate her, according to
I mean, but this plays into what a lot of voters on both sides already think, which is the system is completely rigged. The fix is in. It's an inside game, and only people who are players in the game get its benefits. And this proves they're absolutely right. Trump is making this point. I think this helps Trump.
You might be right. So where do these Bernie voters go? If Tim Kaine is not exciting and angers them, do they stay home on Election Day?
So there's a chance that you'll see at the end of these 2 weeks, folks saying, look, you have in Hillary Clinton someone who does represent maybe a third term of Obama, a lot of the same, and Donald Trump who wants a different approach. If people really feel anxious about the way things are going, that's a moment where they could go with somebody who's maybe a little riskier, maybe a little different than they're used to, but is somebody who they think could possibly bring about the change that would make them safe.
Hillary Clinton, where is her unfavorable rating this morning, and where do you expect it to go?
So her unfavorable rating right now is just a little above half of Americans. And if you look deeper in the numbers, you find that a lot of that is a very strong unfavorable. This isn't just folks saying, I'm not sure that I'm crazy about her. This is baked in after decades of Hillary Clinton being in the news. We may well get to Election Day with a majority of voters thinking that they just really loathe both of these candidates.
I think that's probably likely. So if that happens, who actually votes? At that point, are Republicans more likely to vote or Democrats more likely to vote?
Well, at this point, it's Hillary Clinton who I think has the bigger problem in terms of making sure that those Bernie Sanders supporters who are going to turn out in force and be very frustrated at this convention next week, making sure that they're on board. Are they comfortable? Do they think that it's worth going out and participating in a system that they believe is fundamentally corrupt?
Burning Bernie. Now there's proof that the DNC actively worked against Bernie Sanders and his campaign. But it's about more than just him. And all this right as the Democratic National Convention gets set to kick off in Philadelphia on Monday.
Good morning. So what these leaked emails show is a pattern of top DNC officials trying to help Hillary Clinton throughout the primaries. Now, you'll remember, this is something that Bernie Sanders and his campaign had been arguing for months. Now it appears he finally has proof, thanks to some 20,000 emails that were released yesterday by WikiLeaks. Now, in one email dated May 5th of this year, the DNC CFO tried to use Sanders' religious beliefs against him. He suggested that they get someone to ask Sanders, quote, does he believe in a God? He had skated on saying he has a Jewish heritage. I think I read that he's an atheist. This could make several points difference with my peeps, my Southern Baptist peeps. Would draw a big difference between a Jew and an atheist. There's many more, hundreds, thousands more. And they all seem to validate what Sanders has been saying all along, that the Democratic National Committee was actively working against him, that the system is rigged. And it's a theme that plays right into Trump's playbook and right before the Democrats' convention. So far, neither Sanders nor the Clinton campaign have responded.
I mean, if it wasn't rigged against him, he gave her a run for her money, didn't he?
Well, absolutely. Well, the whole narrative, the
self-described socialist.
The whole narrative was driven by him. This whole election cycle on the Democratic side.
It is unfair. Far be it for me to take the side of Bernie Sanders, but it was unfair what they did to him. The truth is exactly what Bernie and Trump claim it is, which is it's a rigged system run by the rich against ordinary voters.
What is the truth? We heard for months and months and months now that the DNC was, anti-Bernie Sanders. It was pro-Hillary Clinton. We're going to have these debates.
It was her turn.
It was on a Saturday night. We're going to hide these presidential debates on a Saturday night, the primary debates, so no one watches TV on a Saturday night, that Bernie didn't have access to voter rolls, the infrastructure of the DNC. Well, now we have proof. Emails leaked by WikiLeaks. I guess they somehow got into their servers and managed to pull out these emails showing that they had it in for Bernie Sanders from the beginning.
We're fair and balanced. We're always reaching out to all sides to get them to come on the show to talk. So one of our producers sent an email to Luis Miranda. He's the communications guy over at the Democratic National Committee, and said, why don't you come on our show? And so the email chain went around the DNC, and he responded this way. Why? Question mark. Tucker, that would be me. Question mark. Seriously? Plus, I'm going to Alaska, so I won't be around. So I saw this yesterday. One of my reporters sent it to me. So I sent Luis an email, and I said, you know what? I think you're back from Alaska. We're inviting you back on Fox and Friends, and we hope you will come.
Well, we got some emails this morning from our viewers. Here's an email from Jeff. It says, Bernie, he's our man. If we can't have him, Trump's our man.
And Mike says, did Bernie expect the Democrats to tell the truth?
Bernie Sanders argued from the beginning that the Democratic National Committee was against him, putting its thumb on the scale in favor of Hillary Clinton. He was dismissed as a conspiracy nut, and now we learn he was totally right. WikiLeaks got a whole bunch of emails from DNC staff, and they show a concerted effort to undermine the Bernie Sanders campaign, including the end of his campaign in April. That email read this way, quote, we're starting to plan ahead with messaging to our supporters for the end of the primary and transition to the general. So don't you think all of us who dismissed Bernie Sanders as a hot-headed conspiracy nut when he said the powers that be are united secretly against me owe him an apology, because actually they were united against him secretly?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you can remember that when Debbie Wasserman Schultz was criticized for this, I actually wrote a column criticizing her for really setting up the debates in a way that would benefit Hillary Clinton and not be helpful to Bernie Sanders. You know, she said she was just basically this, disinterested third party, and she was, just being an honest broker. And I think everybody knew that that wasn't true.
Donald Trump's essential campaign theme is there's a conspiracy among the press, politicians, and big corporations to protect the prerogatives of the powerful. Clearly that is true. Bernie Sanders supporters voted for Bernie because they believe that too. So why would they now vote for Hillary Clinton, who's engaged in that conspiracy?
In the leaks of the emails, there's back and forth about who should get to sit next to Barack Obama at an event, and basically they're arguing for the person who gave the most money. Now, look, both parties do this, but the point is, I think that Donald Trump could make an argument that he won't, because this isn't the game that he's playing. It's not about donors, and he doesn't need to reward donors. And I think that is something that people are really tired of, that you can just buy access to the president by how much money you give to one of the parties.